Imagine this. You wake up in a world where silence is extinct. There is no room for boredom, no moment unfilled, no second unoccupied. The hum of notifications, the glow of screens, the endless scroll of bite-sized pleasures, it's all consuming. You don't remember the last time you sat in a quiet room with your own thoughts. You don't remember the last time you stared into space without feeling the pull to check, refresh, consume. At first, this world seems exhilarating. Infinite content at your fingertips. Every second brims with entertainment movies, shows, viral videos, video games, trending memes, celebrity gossip, politics, sports, OnlyFans, and endless distractions. No more stillness, no more solitude, just pure, relentless stimulation. It feels like freedom, it feels like a dream, but something is off, something is wrong. You notice it in fleeting moments, the inability to focus for more than a few minutes, the constant restlessness, the strange emptiness that lingers after hours of binging on entertainment. Conversations feel shallow, books feel too slow, real life seems unbearably dull in comparison to the digital thrill. Your mind is always buzzing, yet when you try to grasp a single deep thought, it slips away like water through your fingers. You feel entertained, but are you truly alive? This is the paradox of modern entertainment. The more we consume, the more we are consumed. The very thing that promises to enrich our lives instead hollows us out. It erodes our ability to think deeply, to sit with discomfort, to face the raw truths of existence. Every second spent lost in artificial pleasure is a second stolen from real meaning. And yet, you can't stop. None of us can. Have you ever wondered why it's so difficult to sit in silence? Why does boredom feel like agony? Why does the idea of logging off of it for a few hours seem unbearable? The answer is unsettling, because we have been conditioned to fear our own minds. Aldous Huxley once warned that the future wouldn't be shaped by force, but by pleasure. That control wouldn't come in the form of oppression, but sedation. A really efficient totalitarian state, he wrote in Brave New World, would be one in which the all-powerful executive controls a population of slaves who do not have to be coerced because they love their servitude. This is precisely where we find ourselves to not as prisoners in chains, but as willing captives to an endless stream of entertainment. And the worst part, we don't even see the cage. Our attention, the very essence of our consciousness, has been hijacked. Neurologically engineered content exploits our brain's dopamine system, keeping us trapped in an endless loop of seeking, scrolling, consuming, never satisfied, yet never able to stop. It's not just social media. It's not just Netflix, HBO, or Apple TV. It's the entire structure of modern entertainment, designed not to enrich us, but to keep us hooked. But here's the real question. If we have surrendered our ability to be still, to reflect, to think deeply, who have we become? Are we still individuals, capable of shaping our own minds and destinies? Our opinions? Are they our own? Or are they a formulation of the media we have consumed? Or are we just passive consumers, programmed to seek the next hit of shallow pleasure? The answer is more terrifying than we'd like to admit. Entertainment addiction isn't just a harmless distraction, it's a silent war on human depth, on critical thinking, on the very fabric of what makes us human. Our values have become undone, social morality has eroded. But how did we get here? How did something as innocent as entertainment turn into a force that erodes our attention, our autonomy, our ability to engage with reality itself? There's an epidemic of loneliness, an epidemic of social isolation. Some adults are friendless, involuntary celibates, suffer from chronic shyness, and there's an increase in social awkwardness and social ineptness. The roots of this crisis run deep into psychology, philosophy, and the mechanisms of control hidden in plain sight. To understand the true cost of our entertainment addiction, we must uncover the forces shaping our minds from the shadows. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You were never asked if you wanted to live this way. You never signed a contract agreeing to trade your deepest thoughts for fleeting amusement, to exchange your moments of solitude for a relentless flood of digital noise. And yet, here you are trapped in a cycle of consumption so automatic, so effortless, that you don't even recognize it as a prison. But who built the walls? To understand how entertainment addiction is eroding our very ability to think, we must first understand the forces that have engineered it. Forces rooted in psychology, philosophy, and an understanding of human nature so profound that it has turned entire societies into sleepwalkers. And here's the terrifying truth. This is no accident. Carl Jung once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. And nothing is better at shielding us from ourselves than entertainment." The human psyche is built to seek distraction from suffering. We flee from discomfort, suppress painful truths, block out traumatizing events, and grasp for anything that numbs the existential weight of our existence. The ancient world offered religion. The modern world offers social media. But there's a cost. Nietzsche warned that modernity, in its rejection of traditional meaning, would create a void, a nihilism that would leave people spiritually empty. He believed that without a guiding purpose, without something higher to strive for, people would seek artificial meaning in pleasure and distraction. And he was right. Entertainment has become our secular salvation, a way to escape the burden of our own minds, to drown out the gnawing sense that something is missing. But instead of filling that void, it deepens it. The more we consume, the more dependent we become, and the harder it gets to sit with ourselves in silence. This is why entertainment addiction is so insidious. It doesn't just steal time, it steals the ability to reflect, to analyze, to confront the uncomfortable questions that lead to real transformation. And this is precisely why it's so dangerous. Most people assume dystopias look like Orwell's 1984, a world of surveillance, control, and brutality. But Aldous Huxley predicted something far more terrifying, a world where control doesn't come through fear, but pleasure. In Brave New World, people aren't oppressed by force. They're numbed into obedience by endless entertainment, superficial pleasures, and a drug called soma that erases all discomfort. They don't rebel because they don't want to. They're too distracted, too entertained, too comfortable in their own sedation to question anything. Huxley's warning wasn't about the future, it was about us. Today, our soma is digital. Every form of entertainment is engineered to maximize pleasure while minimizing effort. Streaming services autoplay the next episode. Social media feeds never end. Video games offer endless dopamine hits, rewarding us for nothing. It's all designed to keep us from looking up, to keep us from linking up, to keep us from thinking too much. Because a thinking population is dangerous. A population lost in endless consumption is easy to control, manipulate, and cajole. None of this is accidental. The entertainment industry doesn't just provide content, it hijacks your brain's reward system. Here's how it works. Dopamine manipulation. Every time you watch an exciting scene, laugh at a viral meme, or scroll through social media, your brain releases dopamine. This makes you feel good, but only temporarily. The more you consume, the more your brain adapts, requiring even more stimulation to get the same effect. This is why binge watching feels good in the moment, but leaves you feeling drained afterward. The slot machine effect. Social media and video platforms use variable reward systems, the same psychological trick casinos use. Sometimes you find something amazing, sometimes you don't. The unpredictability makes you keep scrolling, just like a gambler keeps pulling the lever, hoping for the next jackpot. Mental fatigue and attention erosion. The rapid cuts, flashy edits, and constant stimulation of modern entertainment rewire the brain. Deep focus becomes harder. Boredom becomes unbearable. Long-form reading feels impossible. Anything that requires sustained effort seems exhausting, because your brain has been trained to expect instant rewards. And the result? A generation of people who struggle to sit still, who struggle to focus, who struggle to think deeply. Because the moment the stimulation stops, the existential weight returns. Arthur Schopenhauer once wrote, "A man can be himself only so long as he is alone." But how often are we truly alone? How often do we allow ourselves to sit in pure, uninterrupted thought? The loss of solitude has destroyed something vital, the ability to reflect. Great ideas, deep insights, and personal growth don't happen in moments of stimulation. They happen in silence, in the spaces between distractions, in the stillness that allows the subconscious to rise. But modern entertainment has robbed us of stillness. Instead of thinking for ourselves, we outsource our thoughts to algorithms. Instead of forming our own beliefs, we absorb whatever is trending. Instead of reflecting on our own lives, we drown out uncertainty with the next dopamine hit. And without stillness, we lose something fundamental, the ability to know ourselves. Entertainment addiction isn't just a harmless escape, it's a psychological warfare on consciousness itself. It erodes critical thinking, sabotages focus, and disconnects us from our own minds. But the worst part, we don't even realize it's happening. The consequences of this addiction are far-reaching, shaping our relationships, our ambitions, our mental health, and even the fate of society itself. But if we don't stop, if we don't break free, what happens next? The answer is darker than we think. Imagine walking into a room full of people. A decade ago, they would have been talking, exchanging ideas, arguing, laughing. But now, there's only silence. Heads bowed, eyes locked onto glowing screens, fingers scrolling in unison. The hum of conversation has been replaced by the silent hypnosis of entertainment. No one looks up. No one engages. At first glance, this might seem harmless. After all, what's wrong with people enjoying themselves? But look closer. Really look. There's something missing. Something intangible but vital. The spark of real presence. The depth of real thought. The unpredictability of real human connection. And this is the unseen consequence of entertainment addiction. It is not just stealing our time, it is warping our reality. Our ability to think deeply is deteriorating. Once upon a time, people could sit with complex ideas, wrestle with abstract thoughts, and engage in deep contemplation for hours. The greatest philosophers, scientists, and revolutionaries spent lifetimes refining their ideas, their minds honed by the sharpening stone of stillness. Now, a 2-minute TikTok feels too long. A single-page article feels exhausting. A moment of boredom feels unbearable. Neuroscientists have found that constant digital stimulation reduces our ability to focus, weakens memory retention, and fragments our thinking. Our minds have been rewired to seek short bursts of shallow engagement rather than sustained, meaningful thought. And here's the most terrifying part. If you can't focus, you can't think. If you can't think, you can't question. If you can't question, you can't resist. A population that has lost its ability to focus is a population that is easy to manipulate. Entertainment has become the perfect tool for control, not through censorship, but through sheer distraction. Entertainment addiction doesn't just alter how we think, it dulls how we feel. There was a time when life's highs and lows were felt deeply. Joy was ecstatic. Sadness was profound. Anger burned with righteous intensity. Pain was a teacher. Every emotion had its weight, its presence, its meaning. Now, emotions are diluted. Overstimulation has made us desensitized. Movies have to be louder, faster, more explosive, just to hold our attention. Content has to be more extreme, more shocking, more controversial to make us feel anything at all. And as a result, reality itself feels dull. People are so unmoved. In the 1960s, citizens were terrified at the prospect of a nuclear war. Today, so many accept it as inevitable and unavoidable. People no longer find joy in simple things. A walk in the park, a meaningful conversation, the quiet beauty of existence. Everything real seems slow, unsatisfying, and inferior to the high-speed thrill of artificial stimulation. Our ability to experience raw, unfiltered emotion is fading. People simply don't care anymore. This is why so many feel empty after binge-watching for hours. The thrill is temporary. The numbness lingers. The more we consume, the less alive we feel, the more disconnected we become. Entertainment was supposed to connect us. Instead, it has made us lonelier than ever. Social media promised relationships at our fingertips, yet studies show that heavy users are more anxious, more depressed, and feel more socially isolated than ever before. Instead of fostering deep friendships, digital entertainment has created performance-based interactions. We curate, we posture, we seek validation, but we do not connect. And in real life, people struggle to hold conversations without checking their phones. Eye contact is becoming rare. A stranger attempting to strike up a conversation is unbearable, not because it's awkward, but because it's unfamiliar. We no longer know how to just be with one another without the buffer of entertainment. The result? A society of isolated individuals, starved for real connection, but incapable of achieving it. In the past, people had to wrestle with boredom, and boredom was useful. It pushed us toward creativity, toward action, toward self-discovery. It made us build, learn, improve. Boredom spurred children in the 70s, 80s, and even the 90s to action and outdoor activities. Now, entertainment fills every empty space, removing the discomfort that once drove ambition. Why struggle when you can escape? Why create when you can consume? Why strive when you can numb? The greatest minds of history, Einstein, Da Vinci, Nietzsche, Tesla, would never have thrived in an age of infinite distraction. They needed solitude. They needed the silence that modern entertainment has destroyed. And what does this mean for the future? Fewer thinkers, fewer innovators, fewer people willing to put in the effort to truly master a craft. A generation raised on endless amusement will struggle to find meaning in real, difficult work. A civilization addicted to entertainment will not produce greatness. To reclaim your attention, you must detox from the addiction. This is not easy. It is not comfortable, but it is the only way to undo years of conditioning. Try this: a 24-hour entertainment fast, 1 full day. No social media, no videos, no games, no passive consumption. Just you, your thoughts, and the real world. Observe how your brain reacts. Feel the withdrawal. Feel the discomfort. Then push through. Restructure your environment. Remove temptations. Make it harder to access mindless distractions. Turn off autoplay. Disable notifications. Delete addictive apps. Your willpower is not the problem. Your environment is. Fix it. Rebuild your attention span. Start small. Read a book for 10 minutes without checking your phone. Then 20. Then an hour. Train your brain like a muscle, slowly rebuilding its ability to focus. Seek real experiences. Replace artificial stimulation with real life. Take long walks without music. Have deep, uninterrupted conversations. Engage in difficult, meaningful work. Feel reality again. Question everything. Every time you feel the urge to consume entertainment, ask yourself, who benefits from this addiction? Because it's not you. The goal is not to reject entertainment completely. The goal is to take control, to consume with intention, rather than be consumed. Rewiring the mind, from consumer to creator. The real rebellion is not just escaping entertainment, it is reclaiming your ability to create. Most people today are passive consumers. They take in content, ideas, opinions, and entertainment, but they do not produce. They do not think for themselves. And this is the final stage of breaking free. Stop consuming. Start creating. Write, build, make music, start a project, solve a problem, learn a skill, create something, anything that forces you to engage with reality instead of escaping from it. Challenge yourself, because the moment you shift from consumer to creator, you step outside the system. You reclaim your mind. You rediscover your power. Perhaps the most insidious consequence of all is this: we are surrendering control over our own minds. Most people believe they make their own choices. They believe they watch what they want, consume what they like, but in reality, their desires are being engineered. Algorithms dictate what content we see. Psychological tricks keep us hooked. Media conglomerates decide which trends will dominate our attention. And the more entertained we are, the less we notice. The great irony? People fear Orwell's 1984, a world where books are banned, where speech is censored, where governments control thought. But in reality, we are living in Brave New World, where censorship isn't necessary because people have been conditioned not to care. There is no need for force when people willingly surrender their minds to amusement. The question is no longer whether entertainment addiction is shaping our world. The question is, how do we escape? Is it even possible to break free from a system designed to keep us passive? Can we reclaim our ability to think, to feel, to be without artificial stimulation? The answer is not what you think. The path to freedom requires something radical, something that goes against everything modern society has trained us to believe. Next, we uncover the rebellion against entertainment addiction, how to break free, reclaim your mind, and awaken from the trance. Most prisoners know they are imprisoned. They feel the weight of their chains, the walls around them, the bars that separate them from freedom. But the modern mind is trapped in a different kind of prison, one so seamless, so comfortable, that it goes unnoticed. And that is what makes it so effective. To break free, you must first see the cage. You must recognize that the endless entertainment, the constant stimulation, the digital noise flooding your mind isn't harmless. It's by design. It is engineered addiction, carefully crafted to keep you distracted, dependent, and disengaged from reality. The first step to rebellion is awareness. Because once you see it, truly see it, you can never unsee it. There is power in boredom. Ask yourself this: when was the last time you allowed yourself to be truly bored? Not bored in the way most people mean, mindlessly scrolling, half watching, half listening, seeking something to fill the void. But pure boredom, sitting in silence with no external stimulus, letting your thoughts stretch into the empty spaces. If you can't remember, that's a problem. Boredom is not the enemy. It is a gateway. Every great thinker, every artist, every innovator who shaped human history understood the power of solitude. Deep thought cannot exist without space. Creativity requires a void. True self-awareness emerges only when the noise stops. But modern entertainment has killed boredom. It has replaced deep introspective stillness with endless, shallow engagement. And if you are afraid of being bored, you are afraid of being alone with yourself. If you avoid being alone with yourself, you are missing out on who you are. You are missing out on your inner genius. You don't get a chance to explore you. Is there an artist inside or a poet? A mathematician? This is how you break free. Reclaim boredom. Turn off the distractions. Sit in silence. Let your mind wander. At first, it will be uncomfortable. Your brain, trained for constant stimulus, will rebel. You will feel an almost unbearable urge to reach for your phone, to check something, to consume. But if you resist, if you push through, you will begin to experience something rare and powerful. You will start to think again. Facing reality is hard. But everything meaningful in life exists beyond the easy. The real question is not how to break free, it is whether you are willing to. Because if you are, you will come to see something few ever realize. Few ever see the ultimate truth. And the truth is, you were never meant to wake up. Everything around you, the endless entertainment, the algorithms fine-tuned to your impulses, the carefully crafted distractions, was designed to keep you asleep. Not in a literal sense, but in a far more insidious way. Asleep to your own potential. The great illusion of modern society is that you are in control, that you are making choices, that you are deciding what to watch, what to consume, where to direct your time and attention. But in reality, your choices were made for you long before you even realized it. Every time you open an app, a hidden algorithm decides what you see. Every time you search for entertainment, a massive corporate entity has already determined what's trending, what's pushed to the top, what's engineered to keep you watching for just one more minute. It's not a coincidence. It's a system. And the most terrifying truth of all, a system designed to entertain you is a system designed to control you. By now, you might feel it, the weight of what has been taken from you. Your time, your attention, your ability to sit in silence, to think deeply, to create something meaningful, all slowly chipped away by an industry that never had your best interests in mind. This is why breaking free feels so difficult. It's not just a matter of willpower. It's not just about deleting an app or turning off notifications. It's about undoing years of conditioning. It's about reclaiming something that was stolen from you so slowly, so invisibly, that you never even noticed it happening. But now you see it. And the moment you see the chains, you are no longer fully bound by them. Here is the final truth, one most people never dare to accept. Freedom is painful. It is far easier to be entertained than to think, far easier to consume than to create, far easier to escape reality than to confront it. This is why so few break free. Because the first thing you feel when you step away from the distractions, when you finally sit in silence with your own mind, is discomfort. The weight of reality hits you. The existential questions come flooding in. The suppressed thoughts, the unresolved emotions, the sheer depth of your own mind, all of it rises to the surface. And most people in that moment run back to distraction. But those who resist, those who sit with that discomfort, who push through the initial emptiness, they are the ones who reclaim something far more valuable than fleeting entertainment. They reclaim themselves. Imagine waking up tomorrow with your mind fully under your own control. No longer hijacked by endless scrolling, no longer dependent on artificial stimulation, no longer lost in distractions that numb more than they fulfill. Imagine sitting in silence and feeling at peace. Imagine reading a book and getting lost in its depth, free from the impulse to check your phone. Imagine engaging in deep conversations, creating something of value, rediscovering what it means to truly live, not as a passive consumer, but as an active participant in reality itself. This is what awaits those who break free. Most will never escape. Most will continue to numb themselves, to let their time and attention be drained by forces they do not see. They will live their lives entertained, but never truly alive. But you now stand at a crossroads. You can choose to continue as before, to return to the comfortable, the easy, the familiar pull of endless amusement, to keep running from boredom, from silence, from the deeper truths that entertainment has shielded you from. Or you can choose the harder path, the one that leads to clarity, to depth, to self-mastery, the path that leads to freedom. The question is simple. Will you wake up, or will you choose to stay asleep? If you've made it this far, then something inside you is already waking up. Maybe you felt it, that restless urge to break free from the cycle, to reclaim your mind, to stop living as a passive consumer and start existing as something more. The truth is, entertainment isn't the enemy, but mindless consumption is. And the more we numb ourselves, the more we lose what makes us human. Our depth, our focus, our ability to truly connect with reality. So here's the challenge. Can you step away? Can you sit in silence, resist the urge to escape, and face yourself without distraction? Because that's where real change begins. Now I want to hear from you. What's the hardest part about breaking free from entertainment addiction? Is it the fear of boredom, the pull of instant gratification, or something else entirely? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's start the conversation, because awareness is the first step toward freedom. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.